there's a llama in my garage. Means there's a wandering trader close by. What you got here, buddy? Oh, a Quama's head. I need a Quama's head. Let's grab that. And dripstone. Definitely need that. Let me go find some emeralds. Oh, and I still do kind of need some leads. We built this large mansion in my last episode, and between episodes, I've done a little bit of cleanup. I've got all my items sorted into a wall of chest over there, and then another wall of chest over here. And I also did some enchanting between episodes. As you can see, I've got a bunch of quartz over here. That means I cracked all that quartz ore that I collected in the last episode. I used that for experience in order to fuel some enchantments, just a few enchantments. But I ended up getting a Fire Aspect Unbreaking 3 sword, and then we had that Looting 3 book, and I also got a Sweeping Edge 3 book. I got another sword. This one just came out enchanted this way. It's got Smite 3 and Looting. That's a pretty good wither killing sword right there. And then I also got Fortune 3 on an axe as well. I've actually been using that to break a bunch of this nether wart. We got tons and tons of nether wart now. And then one other thing I did between episodes is I actually dug out the basement down here. So we've got a stone floor. The stone floor is actually going to stay. I ran out of stone. I'm going to need to go get some more. And I think I want to use deep slate for the walls so it's consistent with the foundation up here. So I think that'll look pretty nice. So I need to go get more deep slate. We'll do some mining in a little bit. But before that, I want to deal with the villager situation that we've got going on over here. I accidentally let all the villagers in that village over there die. So I'm gonna have to go somewhere else and grab some new ones. There were quite a few villages that I found in my travels in my last episode. There was some snowy villages. Those would be out behind the mansion in that direction, a few hundred blocks. But I think the easiest to get at and to get the villagers back from, if there were some desert villages, and they were right next to water when I was doing some boating travels in my last episode. So I think I'm gonna go see if I can find those again and see if I can trap a couple of the villagers and get them into the water fairly easy and row them right back here. Passing by the old flower forest, ice spike desert biome combination here. Oh, yep, there's a village right over there. Why is it that I keep forgetting to bring beds on these trips here? Stealing another bed. I can't think of a much more perfect combination for a village here. It's completely flat and directly adjacent to water. Like, this is, well, let's not all be in a hurry. I'm kidnapping you, you know. So yeah, all I gotta do is row the boat right over to the water and then row them back to the village and then come back and grab another one. One thing I do need to be careful of is when I set up these temporary beds like this, like when I break this bed, now I don't actually have a spawn location. So if I die between now and the next time I touch a bed, I will go back to spawn, which is 10,000 blocks away. We got a dolphin swimming along with us. How you doing, buddy? Well, that's certainly a landmark on the horizon now, isn't it? Pretty hard to miss that. All right, I'll leave this guy afloat a little bit. So hopefully that should keep him relatively safe, and we'll just head on back and grab a second one. All right, let's see if we can get back there before nightfall. We don't want too many mobs spawning on us. All right, got both of them back. I don't know how safe they are out here in the ocean, so I think I will actually bring them out to the shore, let them go into one of the houses, and then just lock them in that house. Workstations are a very effective way to get them to go in the direction that you want to. Set up two more up here. What are you doing? And then set up the next two inside of this house, maybe? Come on, guys, go right on in. And then, yeah, you don't get a door anymore. You get a wall. Let's make sure there's torches in there so that, like, we don't have mobs spawn directly inside of here. But other than that, they should be good to go. And then I think I'm going to actually forget all about this village, and we might even end up bulldozing it at some point. I think instead of that, I'm just going to set up a breeder somewhere out here somewhere. I'm going to use the same one I've used a few times before. It's a one by GFX Roamer. It looks lovely. And let's just set that up somewhere over here. Villagers out, and one of them immediately climbed onto the roof up here. It's like they're drawn to it. All right, so I've got all the villagers in, and isn't this just a lovely looking breeder? I just really like the way this thing looks. This is, again, a design by Romer GFX, link in the description, as always. I've actually built this a couple times before. I built this on my Patreon server, and then I've also built it here in another place on this same server. That version was built out of quartz, which is what Romer GFX's original version was made out of. And obviously that's very expensive, especially for the early game. So I have made it out of sandstone. And other than that, it's actually a pretty cheap design. In fact, the schematic I used is actually for 2 of these modules, not just 1. So I ended up grabbing twice the amount of resources that I ended up needing. I went to the desert and I grabbed an entire inventory of sandstone and smelted it all down before I realized I only needed half of that. So I've got a whole bunch of extra sandstone sitting around. What I think I'll do is I'll actually just use that for the next build. And for that next build, I want to build a small trading hall that we can use as breeder for. So I designed a starter trading hall that's actually really inexpensive. I designed it some time ago, and I actually built it on my Patreon server, and there were a few kinks that I needed to work out, and I worked them all out, but then I never ended up actually making a video on it. So I think it's a good opportunity. It'll help me out. It'll help me get some lanterns, get some bricks, get some mending books, and some other resources in order to get us started here. Although one thing we are going to need is some slimes in order to get some sticky pistons. Can I actually just fight this guy on water? That'd be fantastic. I did not figure I'd be able to do that. That's actually a little bit easier. If I remember correctly, it's 2 sticky pistons and 2 observers, so 2 slime and 2 quartz per row. So it is fairly cheap, but it's not like super duper cheap. If you want to be able to cure them, and I do want to be able to cure them, you do need observers and sticky pistons. And so we do need to come here. I found this here swamp in my last episode, and so hopefully we can stay fairly safe. I've got some diamond armor on. We can repair it up and get it enchanted once we've actually got this trading hall working. And let's just see how many slimes we can get. All right, so it's dawn, so I guess we're done here. We've got 57 slime balls. That's very decent. That should get us more than enough columns in the villager trading hall. So that's a good start. The looting sword definitely did help quite a bit. All right, so we've made our way back with our slimes. Let's build ourselves a trading hall. So we've got ourselves a trading hall. This is a 30-cell trading hall capable of holding 30 villagers. Should be plenty of big enough for what we need. Holds 15 on this side and then 15 on this side. And as you can see, this side isn't actually wired up yet, whereas this side is completely wired up and ready to go. We do not quite have enough slime balls to make the other 15 cells. We're just a few short. We need 11 more, so that shouldn't be hard to get. But we're actually out of the stone and cobblestone required to make repeaters and observers and pistons and stuff like that. So we're going to have to do some mining, and we'll get that done in this episode, and then I will probably finish up wiring up this side in between episodes. So the design for the cells themselves came from another member of the server, Carms. I was looking for ways to make this as cheap as possible, and he came up with a redstone that only required, it turns out it's 3 observers and 2 pistons per row. But the pistons, the sticky pistons, are actually more expensive in my opinion than observers are, and I think it's 2 repeaters per row. So very, very cheap. And then everything else around this is what I came up with. So I set up the water. It was actually kind of tricky to get the water to work quite right. So I got that working. And we've even got some modifications that when we get more resources, we can add a little reset switch up there in case anything goes wrong, as well as a light to tell us if the cell is active or not. So that'll be kind of nice, but we don't have the resources for that just yet. But that was actually the idea behind this design, is that you can start out small and then you can add those features when you have more resources. And then over here in the center, we have the villager selector. And to call a new villager, I can just press this button right here and it'll send a minecart and it'll go over to the breeder and grab us a villager. And then it does take a few seconds and then the villager will come back and there he is. And it actually recycles the same minecart, so I only have to have one minecart in there. It'll just keep using the same one over and over again. So you can see that he's chosen this cartography table here as his workstation, and that's actually very much on purpose. That is to prevent him from getting distracted by any other workstations that are anywhere else in the build. Now, if you have a workstation over here and there's a villager assigned to it, that's not going to be a problem. But if you like using barrels in the floor and stuff like that, which I like to do a lot, it's very useful to have storage around your trading hall. These barrels are workstations, and if he sees that, he might be trying to pathfind it, and you place your lectern down and he's still trying to pathfind that. I made a video on that. It's a very useful piece of information, really helped me figure out how these things work. So I've designed this instead. This is actually some redstone, and what it does is when I place down a different workstation, it's going to move this workstation, so he's no longer assigned to it anymore. And now you saw he instantly picked that lectern job. So that's what we want to see. Now, I might end up removing this at some point in the future. It is observer based, so it could end up in the wrong state, especially if I were to press the green button right now, that would spit out water. The water would flow right over to this observer and it would mess it up. So if I keep breaking it, I might end up taking out this redstone, and instead what I could do is something over here where I've got some string, carpet over string. Oops. And what this does is it prevents them from thinking that they can pathfind across this carpet here. And so that'll make it so that any other workstations on the other side of the carpet, so if I put it right along that line right there, then I could even have a workstation right here and he wouldn't be able to see it because he wouldn't be able to walk for it. But I thought this redstone was kind of neat, so I figured I'd try it out and see if I can keep it from breaking or anything like that. So yeah, we just keep doing that, and that'll keep him from running into any problems. And then we've got our standard accept and dismiss buttons. By dismiss, I mean, of course, murder. And because I've got all this wood around here, I decided to use a magma block down there. So it just drops him through the floor and he starts dying on top of a magma block over there. So when I decide I want to keep one, this one has power 5, which I only need once or twice, but it's a pretty rare enchantment. So I do need to lock in the trade. I only need to trade with them once to get him going. And then I press this green button right here and it sends him over into a water channel over here. And then he will make his way up to the top. And then he will come over here and fall down into this one right here. Might take him a second. There he goes. And then I have to take this workstation or any other workstation and move it over here. But I do need to remove that one so he's no longer associated with him, and then give him this one, and see, he just picked that workstation and we're good to go. But I think I need to put a zombie back here sooner than later because I don't have any emeralds to work with. So we need a way to get some emeralds, and trading 24 paper for an emerald isn't going to get me there very fast. So let's get us a zombie rounded up. Perfect. Night is already falling. So we just need to come over. I'm going to use some heads. You can use name tags. You can use anything you want. So I'm just going to use some heads and see if we can get a zombie to wear one of these heads. So I've been doing this for 3 nights and I have not gotten a single zombie to pick up a single item, not even a sword, not armor, not anything. So I'm largely just going to give up at this point. Dawn's almost coming. I do not want to have to do this another day. So I'm just going to take this one zombie right here, going to lure him into the area. And then I've done some fishing in the past and I have managed to get 2 name tags. Actually, let's just lure him in this side. We'll do this. This should be fine. Just get him to go in here. Then we'll come over to here. And I didn't have the items ready. I don't have them ready at all. Shoot. How you doing? Block that off. No! No! Oh! Come on. And then hopefully we can block this side off in time as well. There we go. Okay, well, he's trapped in there. And now I have many, many creeper holes around my base. That's only the worst of several. There's a few more over here. I've been doing this for quite a few days. And there's been quite a few creeper blasts. Let's not forget to name tag him before he despawns on us. So let's come on back here. There we go. Named him after one of the longtime members of my Discord, Hamza. He actually helped me out with this. And so now you're a zombie, Hamza. So I actually asked in my Discord, and they said something to do with glow ink, and zombies were picking it up and just never despawning, and it was causing problems. And so they changed some of the code, but they said that they should be able to pick up weapons and stuff like that. But I've tried 40, 50 zombies, and I can't get them to pick up a single item. So it seems that zombies just don't pick up items anymore. So that's a little bit unfortunate, because that means I can't give him a sword so that he'll kill the villagers faster. Well, now that that excitement's over, there's a couple more things about this trading hall that I wanted to go over. I mentioned this carpet over string here at the entrance, and this is to prevent mobs from entering into here. One of the mistakes I made on the Patreon server is I wanted an open air kind of market thing going on, and I like the aesthetic of it, and I made it so that zombies couldn't get at the villagers. But I didn't think about pillagers, and pillagers just kept coming and shooting them with their crossbows, and they just kept killing them over and over and over again. So don't do that to yourself. You need to make sure pillagers can shoot their crossbows up to 8 blocks. So you need to make sure they can't get more than 8 blocks away. So this right here should prevent that. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to make this 3 blocks wide, because sometimes their AI might think they can cross that, but if it's 3 blocks wide, they won't be able to. So I might have to make that a little bit wider. They cannot spawn inside of this, by the way. They do require a light level of 7 or lower. They can still spawn during the day, but they do care about light level, so they will not be able to spawn inside this trading hall. And over here, I've made a little access door so that we can come down and check out our breeder. So here is the rail that takes them over into the trading hall. And then you can see we have no shortage of villagers. So as far as the design for this goes, I really like what I came up with here. I was having a lot of difficulty with the design because I was just trying to take an old basic design and replace the stone brick with sandstone, and that just wasn't working. And then I decided, I'm like, maybe if I picked a theme, and I went with like kind of a desert temple kind of theme. And not necessarily like a Minecraft desert temple, but just like a desert temple. And I looked up a few references online, and this didn't end up looking much like those references, but they gave me some ideas. And the fact that I had a theme that I was working towards really helped inform my decisions. Another interesting design concept that I've learned over the years is exposed redstone can actually look really good sometimes. I used to try to hide my redstone all the time, but if you can make your redstone look nice and just leave it exposed, this adds a layer of depth that wouldn't be there otherwise. This side doesn't look quite as nice, but it does give us the advantage that we can actually see what's going on here, and it doesn't look half bad, and it looks a lot better than if I just walled this section off. And also, this cactus was causing me problems with the wall, and that's what made me decide, you know what, I can just leave this wall exposed, and it actually looks pretty nice. I've also left the roof quite open so that we can see what's going on and fix any issues if they pop up. Now, once this becomes more stable and I'm sure everything's working, I could come back and add a roof to this, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it looks pretty good like this, even with the partially open roof. I think that looks fine, so I'll probably leave it like this. I'll put a schematic in the description if you are interested in this build. This can be expanded to whatever size you want, although it is a pretty expensive build for what is intended to be a starter trading hall. I'm also going to make a separate video for this trading hall concept, and that will have a much cheaper pared down version of this that's not quite as aesthetically pleasing, but it's a lot cheaper than having to go dig out an entire desert for a trading hall. So if you're interested in having a cheap starting trading hall design, then definitely wait for that video. It should hopefully be out in the next day or two. But if you really like this design and you hate having resources in the early game, like apparently I do, then you could build this one as well. Oh, and it's probably worth mentioning that I do actually have 14 ender pearls and 2 gas tiers, and it'd be easy enough to get more ender pearls through trading with piglins. So I could have, even in this episode, I could have rushed straight towards the ender dragon and killed him no problem. but I was kind of enjoying this, so let me know in the comments if you enjoy this too, this early game stuff. If you guys don't really enjoy this, I could definitely kill the Ender Dragon in the next episode, and then we can go about back to our normal business. But if you guys are enjoying this, then I could probably hold this out for a few more episodes at least. I'm gonna finish up this episode by doing some mining. I've set up a little mine shaft down here, so we got a little water drop and a water elevator. So if we come down here, I've already done some mining. That's actually how I got the stone and cobblestone to even get what I have built done, but I still need quite a bit more in order to do the other side. So I'm gonna start doing some digging over here, and in between episodes or in my next episode, I will finish up that trading hall, and hopefully we can get some of those villagers, get some decent trades, and this should be a lot of fun. So that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again real soon. Bye now.